You're welcome back, and we are interactive. So join us with your comments and whatever means you want to communicate on this show. We are live on Facebook, on X Spaces, on YouTube, and of course on myjoyonline.com. Now stop the politicking and the blame game and allow the crisis to be resolved. That's the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, cautions to the feuding factions following the fresh killing of 16 persons in Bawku. He's also announced the engagement of eminent chiefs led by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II to broker lasting peace in the area. The latest unrest follows the controversial return of Seidu Abagri to Bawku on October 24. Now, despite the lack of legal recognition for his title, his presence has exacerbated tensions between rival factions, resulting in multiple clashes. The Chieftaincy Minister addressed a news conference a while ago and emphasized the government commitment to resolving the issue impartially.
To my brothers and sisters in Bawku area, and that's why I'm wearing the hat. Normally I don't, but today I decided to do that. I'm addressing you, my brothers and sisters in the Bawku area, and wherever you find yourself, please reach out to your neighbor. Bridge the divide that separates you and build a future where peace reigns supreme. You have lived together peacefully in the past. You have intermarried and produced children of parentage from all sides. I plead with you to take a step back from these seemingly provocative happenings and show exceptional love to yourselves. For you are one people, as we are all one people in this country, working hard to better our lives. I quote Martin Luther King Jr., a civil rights activist, who says, and I quote, "Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend." It is possible to make a difference wherever you find yourself. Each one of us must be committed to the peace agenda. Peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at a goal. A quotation closed by Martin Luther King Jr. Finally, I wish to thank the Nairi, the overlord of the Mamprugu Kingdom, the Bawku Naba, Zogran Asigri Abugrago Azoka II, for their cooperation with me and the government so far. I wish also to thank the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II for his invaluable behind-the-scenes role in these last days. I wish also to thank the youth from both sides whom I have been engaging over the past week and continue to urge them to restrain themselves and avoid any provocative act that will jeopardize the efforts being made by all of us.
So that's the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Stephen Asamoah Boateng. And remember that Bawku is not in a very good place, and it's been so for quite a number of years. But what is the situation on the ground as the minister appealed to the feuding faction to lay down their arms and allow peace to prevail? Albert Sori is our Upper East regional correspondent, and he joins me on the line. Albert, so you're welcome. I mean, will I be right to say that currently there is relative calm in Bawku?
And it's been calm today, but I must say that there's still a lot of tension in the town. From what we gather from the residents, they still intermittently hear some gunshots in the air. It's not as intense as it was, in the past few days. Today, it's been calm, but a lot of the residents are still having the feeling that this is not just over yet. Some of them actually haven't been out of their homes just like it was the case yesterday. Few have managed to come out of their homes to do one or two quick things and go back indoors. A lot of businesses still remain closed, and that's generally the situation. But then you still have the security personnel on the ground. Yesterday, security was highly beefed up. The situation remains the same today. But when you talk to the residents, you get the feeling that they are so scared for their lives, basically.
But again, the issue about the security personnel and what they are doing to ensure there is peace. I mean, they've been around, and yes, we've witnessed these murders and clashes. Is it a case that they are overwhelmed with the situation from your analysis?
Well, when you talk to the residents, normally these things happen when it looks like everything has been calm for some time. Government officials usually will tell you that they've spent so much, the government has spent so much trying to bring in more security into Bawku. So when it happens that the peace of the area is returning or the place is becoming calmer, sometimes they withdraw some of the security personnel to go and take care of other places in other parts of the country, because you can't have all these security men stationed only in Bawku. So normally when it happens like this, it takes those the few that are left by surprise, and by the time reinforcement is called, the damage is already caused. But in this case, you have the reinforcement returning, and that has helped to restore the calm. So the general feeling from the residents is that if they can keep the security there for as long as possible, that will help. But when you talk to the security agencies, you also get the impression that this is not going to be feasible for a very long time, because the men that they have, they can't have all this reinforcement coming from other places and staying there for a very long time. So it goes both ways. The people of Bawku themselves have to embrace the peace, and then the security will also do their part.
Let's talk briefly about the measures announced by government today. The Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. One is the involvement of some eminent chiefs led by the Asantehene, and of course, government scaling up efforts to deal with the situation on the ground. Is it really what the residents of Bawku wants to hear?
At this time, what the residents of Bawku are mainly concerned about is life and property. Because, as I said, that especially in the night, there are times when it looks like everything is calm, then you hear a gunshot ringing somewhere. So it's one of the reasons that makes them feel that they are not yet very safe. So, but then I think that with the government making an effort to at least restore calm, get people to the table to have dialogue and all of that, it will give the people some reassurance that the government is doing something about it once again. But in the past, some of the residents have talked about the fact that the government is using a firefighting approach. When the peace seems to be gaining ground, then the security agencies and the government seems to relax, and then before you know it, there's another incident. So this will have to travel for some time for us to see whether this will be different. But you get the impression that the people of Bawku feel that this is one of those things that usually happen when there are killings. The government is up and doing, and when the shooting, when the shooting stops, then it appears that they go back to relax a little bit until the next time. So these are the indications that we get from the residents.
Question. Today, the minister confirmed that the death toll is at 16. Yesterday, we reported 15. The new addition, are you able to tell us how that came into?
I'm not able to tell how that happened. But in the past, what usually happens is that usually when this thing happens, until the Regional Security Council or the government officially gives you figures, there are times when you either report a few more or a few less figures, because then we have to do our own checks from the ground, from other sources and all of that. But if the government is giving the 16 as the official figure, then it means that we were just a little bit close, because in the last 24 hours, we haven't heard about any other death, which was recorded either yesterday or this morning. So I'm getting the sense that this is an official figure that the government is reporting. The 15, initially we had 8 from other sources, which later went up to 15 yesterday. So the government is just probably giving us an official figure of what has happened.
All right, Albert, thank you so much for this update this afternoon on the Bawku crisis. And again, let me emphasize here that the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Stephen Asamoah-Bountin, held a news conference this morning to update the nation on steps taken by government to bring some solution to the Bawku crisis, and updated that the death toll currently is at 16, and government is relying on the Asante and some eminent chief to work with the feuding factions to bring some solution to the impasse. And then there's also going to be the deployment of additional security personnel to the area. They will take steps to review the curfew, which currently is from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., plus other measures that government is rolling out to address this matter. We'll keep an eye on the Bawku matter, and we'll have that for you. We're also keeping an eye on the unfortunate demise of Akua. Remember that until her death last night, she was one of those bidding to lead this country. Now, what would that hold for the printing of the ballot papers for the presidential election, especially? The Constitution is clear. In the event of death, the Electoral Commission will allow for 10 days for renomination for that particular political party. Is it going to affect the standing on the ballot paper? We'll have answers for you later. But for now, though, let's talk about another very important matter, and it's cholera. And I'm surprised that in this day and age, we are having to deal with this particular matter. There's an outbreak in the Greater Accra region, and it's worsening as cases continue to increase. So far, it has spread to 4 districts from the initiative. We're talking about the capital, Greater Accra, of another district currently testing for potential outbreak. At least 2 persons are reported dead in Koliklote, adding to the initiative reported from Adan East and West districts at the beginning of the month. Now, health facilities already are struggling to manage the growing influx of cases as the disease spread into new districts. In the studio to help us understand what is going on, the measures in place to deal with this particular matter is Gladys Badagblali. Did I get it right? Thank you so much. And of course, she is Community Engagement Lead, Health Promotion Division, Ghana Health. And of course, Jennifer Adobia Buahin, Senior Health Educator Manager, Greater Accra Regional Health Director. So let me start with Gladys. What is going on? And I'm surprised we are having to have this discussion in 2024.
Well, yes. So I just want to greet all our viewers and listeners this afternoon. Yeah, so cholera, we thought something that we could have just overcome it. Unfortunately, we are recording cases of cholera in some of the districts in Greater Accra region. So from the regional health promotion perspective, we need to support this district so that if possible, we can break the chain of transmission, so that it cannot get to other districts as well. So yes, cholera has come to Greater Accra region, as you rightly mentioned. We are helping the system so that we break that chain of. So
Jennifer, what is causing this? I mean, we thought we've outgrown cholera.
Okay, so as we all know, cholera is an issue of sanitation. And then the outbreak is not starting from Ghana alone. We have other African countries that have recorded cases. So when you go to Nigeria, Ethiopia, Niger, Congo, they've been increasing number of cases. These countries have recorded over 20,000 cases. So it's now that Ghana has started recording. So we are not surprised because of people coming in and out. Some of our cases have been imported cases from Nigeria. And other countries. And we know they keep coming in. They are neighbors, and then Togo also even had an outbreak in August. So we are not surprised that Greater Accra has been infected. And then when you look at the communities that are recording cases, these are communities where we have sanitation issues. So you go to some of the communities, they don't have toilet facilities. And as you mentioned, Koloklote, from the areas where we are recording it, is places where there is no proper infrastructure.
Which particular area is this? Because Koloklote, we're talking about the Osu areas, is that not it?
Not really Osu.
Osu is part of it.
Osu is part of Koloklote.
Yeah,
yes.
Koloklote.
But we have issues coming from the slum areas where they don't have these sanitation facilities, water, and then toilet facilities. People are not managing themselves well and all that. So that's how come we are having this problem.
Are you able to narrow that to the particular slum area in the Kwale area that perhaps is more prevalent?
Okay, so we can't mention the particular area, but we know that areas where they have issues with their sanitation, that's where they will have cholera cases. So cholera thrives in areas where people are not washing their hands well, people are doing open defecation, or even right after using the washroom, people don't wash their hands, and then people don't have good source of drinking water because the disease spreads through contaminated food and then water, or coming into contact with someone who has been infected with a bacteria. Yes.
All right. So you earlier spoke, Gladys, you earlier spoke about imported cases.
Yeah.
Is it the case that the cases that you have, you did tracing and realize that it came from out of Ghana?
So when you pick the districts like Bonkata Manso, they had imported case. So it's not a community-based infection. The infection didn't come out from the community. Somebody traveled into the district. And of course, the way it is contagious, it's possible that people can contract from that. But from Adan to is a community-based area that it came out of us. And if I explain the conditions there that promoted the infection happening. So we are just hoping that with the various interventions as a service, we've quickly started with our risk communication and engaging some key people in the communities and the various groups, how best we can break that chain of transmission. We hope that the cases of cholera will reduce. Because if we don't come in early, for now, we don't even know whether the other districts, people have already contacted cholera and they are not reporting. So our surveillance teams who are also moving around to educate people as well, so that they look at the signs, they quickly report to the health facility.
So these areas, are they aware of the danger they are in?
You
the areas that you have reported cases. Some, yes, they are aware that there is cholera, but the perception of how to contract it is like, because they went into contact with filth, but they don't know that you are also potential risk of getting cholera because we are associated with the filth close to you. So we are trying to engage the various groups in the community, 101, and the other leaders, the influential key people, so that they help us for them to understand the root cause of cholera and how the transmission is like, so that they will understand and appreciate the need to put on the interventions that will prevent the spread of cholera. All right. So Jennifer, 2 deaths so far, 2 confirmed deaths from cholera. But what about infected in hospital receiving treatment? Do we have so many people?
Yes, we have more than 30 people that are coming in. As at now, we don't know how many as at right now. So the key thing about cholera is that we have people who have the symptoms, the severe ones, diarrhea with vomiting, those who come with the weakness, general body weakness and all that. We can tell that this person has cholera. And then we have other groups. Those are the asymptomatic ones. So we have people who have been infected with the bacteria, but they are not showing signs, or they are showing mild signs. And some people may have just some light diarrhea, and then they will just go for some collodium, some self-medication, and they think they are okay. So such a person, when you come in contact with them, they can give you the infection.
It can easily be transferred from one person to the other.
Yes, so people are spreading it, They don't have severe forms of it, but based on you, the individual that gets it, your immunity, you can be down with it.
But then therefore, shouldn't rather you consider isolation and quarantine people who are affected?
That's how we treat. So at the facility level, when someone comes in with cholera, they are isolated and treated separately, because you can easily get infected, because if the person is vomiting or using the stool and you are not washing your hands well, you can easily get infected. That's how you get contaminated. So cholera is something that can easily be prevented through proper hygiene. That's why we are encouraging people to wash their hands right after using the washroom. Before you cook, you have to cook your food well. We know people prepare food, for instance, people prepare fanti and other things, and they don't cook it well, because they don't want the fish to mash and all other things. So all these things, we expect that you cook your food well, you eat hot food, and then every time you are washing your hands. If you are eating finger foods, if you are by the roadside, you are buying Kofi Brookman, don't just buy and start eating it. We want you to wash your hands. So all those little hygiene practices, we want our people to do it. So
but there's also the people who cook the food.
The people who cook the food. So
and for them, they may be asymptomatic. They may not even know that they have it.
Yes.
And in so doing, they will end up, transferring it to those who come and buy.
Yes. Some of our cases,
in the absence of any test to establish it, they'll go about their normal duties.
Yes. So from tomorrow, and other districts, Ada and some of the districts, they've started screening the food vendors together with the environmental health officers. So for Koliklote, like this, they just recorded a case. So from tomorrow going, we are going to the communities with the environmental officers. We are starting from the affected communities. So we'll be at the Odona, you know how the place is. And we are going to talk to every food vendor. We are going to make them do the tests, to screen them, and also educate them on proper food safety practices.
There's already, a bylaw that anybody who sells food for commercial purposes should go through some kind of medical screening to have a license to say that you are fit enough to operate. So you'll be checking that as well.
Yes, please.
And then be screening people as well. So those who refuse to allow themselves to go through the process, will there be some kind of restriction on them in terms of the business that they undertake? Yes,
please. There is a bylaw, as you said. So the district assemblies will ensure that they take them through the necessary if they refuse. But one thing too is that you can be screened today with cholera. You can be screened today, test yourself like you are clean. If you don't put in the right practices, you can be reinfected. So there is the need for people to always just get screened and also do the right thing so that you don't infect yourself or recontaminate your product.
Let me bring in Gladys. I mean, before coming on, we're having a discussion about cholera, and then the argument for those who think that we took our eye off it, they made quite a strong argument. That the reason why perhaps we didn't record so much last year and the years before, perhaps because of COVID, and then the protocols that came with it, that people must constantly wash their hands, use hand sanitizer. So even though we're fighting COVID, we're also fighting other things. But now COVID is gone, and we've taken our eyes off the reason why perhaps we are having to discuss cholera this very afternoon. For the areas that you've identified, what is the plan, especially starting from today?
Yes, so our team, our health staff, and other stakeholders, like as she rightly mentioned, and we are meeting everybody. The education, when you come to the facility level, they make sure that everybody is being, awareness is created that cholera is with us here. So the various key messages that they need to do, washing of hands, especially not eating cold food. And let me stress also on this sachet water sellers. So we are also bringing them on board as we are treating the food vendors issue, because the water itself is cold. So the handling, when you want to buy, maybe where you buy it, that's where the person's hand is contaminated. If it's contaminated with the Vibrio cholerae, that's the bacteria for cholera disease. So when the person holds that particular place, you don't know, you also bite, then some few hours you start having diarrhea and vomiting. And most of the cases, we could tell that they are not asymptomatic. You start having the diarrhea, you start having the vomiting, then sooner than later, we see that the issues of dehydration signs setting, the muscle pain, the dryness of the skin, the quench for more water, and the person cannot drink water. So that's where the killing starts coming in. So we bring the sachet water sellers also on board to educate them on how to handle the water. So we are also doing assessments to assess the community's knowledge. Are they aware even cholera is there? What are the possible causes of cholera? Because some people may think it's superstitions or something else coming into. So far in Adan, the feedback is so funny.
What exactly are they saying?
So some of the causes, they will tell you they just ate Bawku and they are having diarrhea and they say cholera. It's not cholera. And those kind of things. So we realize that there is a knowledge gap there that quickly we put in the intervention. So the similar approach in the Kwale district started with. But we are not living
maybe perhaps they also think that even if you contract it, you can easily treat it. It is not a life-threatening disease like others that people are so afraid of.
Yes. And their perception is if household A, there's someone, they hear that there's cholera, the household B thinks I'm safe. So even though they know that means the person had the cholera, they will not protect themselves, but they keep on doing the same thing. So there is some knowledge gap there. So quickly, the health team are on the field doing the education, making sure that they understand, using their own people so that they will understand the language in which they are communicating. So that's some of the approaches that we are using to make sure that everybody get the message. And we are not leaving the districts that are not yet recorded cases because you don't know what is happening there for now. So quickly, they are also on the standby, they are doing their risk communication activities. And we believe that with this, we can break that chain of transmission.
All right, so Jennifer, 2 dead, 30 receiving treatment. Will you say that this is getting out of hand or it is under control?
Okay, if I would say it is under control. And then we need everyone to come on board too, or everyone in Ghana, because cholera is very preventable. And then we need people to report in early. We need people to come in as soon as you start having your first diarrhea. We know
instead of doing self-medication.
Exactly, because people are buying things to control themselves, and people also, when they have the diarrhea, they think it's normal because as a normal human being, once in a while, you must
go through something like that.
So we expect.
I was blaming it on indigestion or something else.
Yes, yes. So we expect that as soon as you get it, you come in, and we know there's tools that we are expecting. There's tool looks like rice water, very light and pale. And then you know that if you had it maybe in the night, you didn't sleep. If someone is watching and they've experienced diarrhea this morning and it has appeared again, we want you to come and get tested. Yeah.
So the screening itself is starting when?
Tomorrow in the Osu-Klote enclaves, especially the slums where the cases have been affected before we come in-house.
So for now, that is where the concentration is.
Concentration.
Okay.
The other districts are doing it. The other districts have already screened their food vendors, but Gov't is the latest district to be added to the list of districts. So that's why tomorrow we are now doing that for them. And also, we expect that those who cook, like we said, as we are screening them, you know, when you go around, you know how Gov't is. Some of them are street hawkers and all that. And we don't know where they get their source of water from. So as we are advising them, we expect that even landlords and the people who lease lands to and the kiosks and for them, they should ensure that there is proper sanitation around.
So for now, apart from these reported cases across the country, you will say that it is largely under control.
It is largely under control. And then all health facilities, they are on the alert. So we have people, right now everyone is on the alert. So as people come in, they will screen them and then they will do the test for cholera too.
Okay. Then I'm really glad as we begin to wrap up this conversation. So, I mean, maybe a few tips for those who are watching, parents especially, what they should look out for. And if they are seeing it, the immediate step that they must take instead of doing self-medication.
So, well, cholera is with us in Greater Accra region. So some of the people affected with cholera, they don't even start with diarrhea. Some may start with vomiting before the diarrhea sets in. So whichever, whether diarrhea starts first or cholera or both, in this area we are in Greater Accra, we treat everybody that these two signs, you should be able to visit the health facility so that you screen and see whether is it potential cholera you are getting. If yes, then quickly they set in and arrest it. Then also we are doing contact tracing. People that if a household, one person is affected with cholera, then they try to have that contact tracing we did. If viewers could remember us in the case of COVID. So we are using all those approaches to make sure that we protect each and every one, that the cases doesn't increase. So from the key messages for the general public is hand washing is the key that we can break the chain of cholera in the area we are. And households that they don't have latrines, we encourage them quickly as soon as possible. I think when they contact the environmental people, they can assist them get some, so that this free and open defecation thing, we break that chain also. Because if one person get cholera in the community, it's an outbreak, it's a serious case that can affect others. People say that the sickness for the poor. But I beg to differ, because maybe your cleaner or whoever that comes to work in your home.
Or maybe you bought water by the roadside and then you...
Very good. You don't know where you can get cholera. So these are the key signs we are looking out for, either vomiting or diarrhea and vomiting. It could be a child, it could be an elderly person. Don't misquote yourself, maybe the food you ate, but quickly you go and report. And remember that hand washing should be part of us. Any social gathering, we should go back to the drawing board as in the time of COVID-19. That we should make sure that our religious leaders, now they should bring the vertical buckets again, so that we will start washing our hands again. And disease from handshake, I think it's also another good thing if you are able to do. We shouldn't be shaking hands at public domain. If anybody, you don't know where the person are going to touch, and you are going to shake hands. Maybe you may not wash your hands properly with soap and water. You get contaminated with cholera bacteria. So we are urging the general public that let's go back to the drawing board as in the time of COVID, the proper hand washing. Then we don't shake our hands again. As we make sure your food that you take is very hot. You don't take cold food. Those of us, we buy water. We are stressing again on the sachet water. If the person doesn't handle it in the middle, you don't take. Make sure that the handling too you consider before buying and taking those water. And we believe that if all these interventions are put in place, and we just end it there as it is.
All right, Jennifer, how are the final words?
All right, so she has said a lot. I want to add that we should be each other's keeper. And then, for instance, the food vendors, where you see a food vendor or you go to a restaurant and you see that the environment is not hygienic, let's speak up. Let's say something about it, so that our food vendors will be cautious and then also prepare our food for us well.
The thing is that you don't even see what goes into the preparation.
Yes,
you only see the final product.
Yes.
And you are under the mercy of God to eat and then stay safe as well.
Yes. Yeah. And then when we go to the market too, we have to, if you go and the person is not selling in a hygienic, don't buy it. We expect that they too, we are going to engage the market women at Makola and then so that they will keep the place well in how they package and sell. Yes.
And now that the rain appears to be coming back clearly, I think these things, and I'm very interested in the market screening as well, because that's also another source of infection. But Gladys and Jennifer, thank you so much for coming through, and I will keep up with this conversation until we eliminate it completely. All right, so we've been discussing cholera. Of course, it's important that you take notes of the tips that they've shared, and we'll continue with this discussion. Now, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, they've launched an appeal for public support in tackling rising cancer cases among its members. The association said it's spending nearly 2 million Ghana cedis each month to treat a growing number of teachers battling cancer, and blames the Galamsey menace for the surge in cases. More in the following reports.
Growing concerns linking the environmental devastation caused by illegal mining to the rise in cancer cases among various communities, including teachers. The union has acquired the Swiss Medical Center in Accra and also set up a cancer foundation as it takes steps to deal with the situation. Christian Yao Edinkra is a board member of the foundation.
When you really look carefully at the data, right now, our teachers that are infected with cancer, the reports and the data is suggesting almost, when we look at it, we actually studied the data, we realized that Ashanti, Central Region, Eastern Region, and now Greater Accra, these 3 regions where most of the things are happening with the fact that Galamsey is coming from those areas. It is frightening. The numbers is actually frightening, such that teachers reporting to the center, teachers reporting from those centers or those areas have the numbers getting increased.
NAT says the situation has now reached crisis point, with treatment costs nearing 2 million Ghana cedis each month for its members. Fund administrator of the NAT Cancer Foundation, Nana Kwame Abibio, says a significant number of teachers are being lost to cancer.
Other high net worth individuals, other corporate institutions should follow suit, as in what Unique Insurance has done to donate to the foundation. My last word is, early detection is the way to go. Go and screen and know your status. Early detection will give you more options to treatment and will save your life. Early detection is the way to go. Go and screen.
Last week, the insurance company, Unique Insurance, donated 20,000 Ghana cedis to support its cancer treatment efforts. But NAT says the burden continues to mount, with more cases being recorded each month. Mr. Abibio wants the public to reach out and support teachers.
Right, so we'll take a short break and return with more here on The Pulse. Welcome back. This is A Pulse here on Joy News, and of course, let's deal with a rather sad news now that came in this morning. The death of the presidential candidate for the Ghana Freedom Party, Madam Bawku Tensions, who sadly passed away at the age of 72. The farmer-turned-politician took the Ghanaian political scene by storm with a jovial commentary with witty takes. Now, we've put together a profile of the late candidates, Bawku Tensions, in this graphics for you. So what we have is that she was born in February 1952 and then age 72 years old, and comes from a Kwabere district in the Ashanti region of Ghana. And, you know, the other information as we have is that she had no formal education, according to information we've picked. She was a farmer and a politician by profession. So that's what we know. And how she got into the political landscape. So in 2012, she filed to contest for the presidency for the first time, but she was disqualified. But she will come again in 2016. Again, she was disqualified after she filed her nominations to contest the 2012 and 2016 elections. Now, she rather contest the 2020 elections and came 5th out of the 12 candidates that, you know, put themselves out for election to lead this country. That was in the last election. So this is the information that we have. Now, my colleague, eminent, he's been to the family home at Gov't in the Ashanti region and came through with this report.
Will go down in history as one of the darkest days in the family's history, because they least expected the news of her demise being announced to the family. So behind me are relatives and family members of the late Madam Bawku Tensions who have gathered here a while ago. Residents of Gov't had been trooped in to commiserate with their family and also to sympathize with them. I have been speaking to the family head of the Diana family, Openi Nanaya Opoku, who tells me they least expected to hear news of Madam Bawku Tensions' death, because they were told of the fact that she has been rushed to the hospital, and within a couple of minutes, news of her death was announced to them. So let me speak to the Abusia Penny of the Diana family here at Gov't. Nana memo akwaba adeba Joy News TV. So mami misa se sekra na mote ya mami Bawku Tensions ne yade no yare da ho net say.
Oh madaruma ya antene yade so yare da ho. Ani ya antene yade se ya gine kura akoto baabi. Yeti ya ne no be anadwunundu. Yeti ya ne se ni wu. ene tie and the tie no so no me de na enimiti bu anye ntina menyini nti mane kan nyina me de na metu o man gu se o mu ntwa akiri na me de ente service e ma me no ye ente ne ya de ente ne hwe o ba akora be 3 weeks mu ani nti ente ne ya de ente ne hwe ti ahomachi no mo sa freye se na de ka no nyini ada nti afia kire de o mo kan na se isu nyina ye de e wa akiri na mam gidie me gidie so na se me nko aso ntimi ntana so se me frɛ busuan nyina busuan so bi ho baby ya mo bo mo nyina amane ebusuan nyina afi no mba maako ye de kakra ye wa ha no ye twa ahia na se ma me kwale nkono de ni wuo na yekte ye no no kore se wagu
nti wo ka se na wonyini ade nti na wonyini
se ma ntene ya de nti na menyiri eni se wuo no no kore no.
So this is Adriana Abusuapani Nana Yapoku. He tells me when news of the death of Madame Akuadonko was announced to him yesterday, he didn't believe it. So he thought it was one of the rumors until the call came again this morning to announce the death of Madame Akuadonko. He's been living in a state of disbelief because according to him, he didn't hear Madame Akuadonko's admission at the hospital. So for him to be told all of a sudden of her death is something that made him disbelieve news of Madame Akuadonko. Mami Misa Abusuapani say one thing a break chat to Obaha no can say best na otwe me ensani and Obaha be di ankasa.
Obaha no Obaha de na no politics sem na ode ba so ode be chi abusua obe campaign Emma Kuri ene abusua no na dawroma de ode ba ha eno no
nti bia die pa na se mudi ho ya obi a mo ya ba kun a ye mo ya pa na se mo ahwere se mantimi anya mampani amfiri mo abusua mu ana
no na ya no se ye ntimi anya wadi akira bre bebribe a ye ntimi anya mampani no amfiri abusua mu a ya ahwere ya japade ya eno no.
Okay, so according to Nana Yapoku, Madame Akuadonko was in this community about 3 weeks ago. She came to the community to campaign vigorously for his electioneering campaigning activities. So the family is very sad. They have been saddened by the fact that the family couldn't produce a president for this country. That has been the utmost hope of the family, that one day this particular family, the Adriana family, would produce a president for the country, and then they can also, walk on the streets of Adriatia, bare chest out to also take some recognition for the fact that the family has produced a president for the entire country. And mami Mr. Mami Akuadonko kura no o kana ho asema kire ya abusua what is say yankasa
kana ho asema kire say abusua yi ankasa yesi owu mu no owu mu emaye a ye ne ye baako ye ni problem bia wa abusua mu ya okoba bia ye ne no akoba bia ne no abusua no techema ye frɛ no so a wo de America ye dai eba nti ye ni problem bia wa abusua yi ande owu mu no
na yenhwe ne madodo se na oja wo mo akire
ne ma na o mo ye nan na oja wo mo akire nan o mo ye nson na me nsa afirim ti aka nan na wo sisi ya na baako na one ne won kran ho a waka no so mi nu wa baako so kumase.
So, according to Nana Yapoku, Madame Akuadonko was blessed with 7 kids. 3 are of blessed memory. So, there are 4 left behind. And when I visited this family house, among them a 65-year-old man, and the youngest is 23-year-old girl who is also in Accra with the late mom. So she was in Accra with the late mom when her sad incident occurred. Let me speak to one of the daughters here. Madam, Pachona, what to say?
Christian.
Pacho, what do you mean?
For 53 years.
Mami Akuadonko man, what to say?
Me tosu mienu.
Oyo bata mami misa se ebre twato awu mami kura nkomo be na ne di.
Me ne di nkomo se me hia sika bi di me be akọ nursing. Nkomo na me ne di. Be 3 weeks ni. Komo am ne di no.
So this is the second child of Madame Akuadonko. She is 53 years old, and she tells me the last time she had a conversation with the mom was 3 weeks ago when she came around, and she actually beckoned on her to support her to see her daughter's education at the nursing training school. And no, what he say, "Oh my, me free mo." Say now, just me.
Me dey me kasa nya no kore. Wonyale nya hwe ye den na wo. Nti me be fie. Na me swela ho machi ya me be fie. Me be busa ya. Yes, na ye no kore.
Ade na wonyi ni say nya no kore.
Sa me ma me nyale. Me ma me nyale. Esi den wo. Nipa yale an wo. Wonyale na wo. Me hu se me ma me yale. Me fro ka akwa akohwe no. Wonyale. Nti ni wo no aya me nwanwa kakra.
So this is the daughter. She tells me she also lived in a state of disbelief when news of the sudden death of her mom was reported to her. So she didn't believe it until this morning when the call also came again to confirm the death of her mom. Is in a state of disbelief. They still don't believe that the late Madam Akua-Donkor, who aspired to be president of Ghana, is no more and can never be counted among the living. But let me find out from Abusia Penny in the funeral arrangements how it will go at this moment. Nana mami misa say yeden tutu ye no kwose sisi.
Wadawluma inya enja asifi akakra no mu nyina bedu to mbedura na ntotu ye bi o bia no ebe mo so ate.
So the Adriana Abusia Penny tells me it is too early to be talking about the funeral arrangements because news has already been sent, information has been sent to other members of the family to converge, and as and when the family members converge entirely, that is where they can decide on the funeral arrangement. So for now, these are few members of the community, few members of the family, the Adriana family, supported by members of the Ejretia community who are commiserating with the family here at the Ejretia family house of the late Madam Akua-Donkor. Let me also inform our viewers that this particular door is an entrance to Madam Akua-Donkor's room. I remember those days when we used to come to this community to speak to her as assembly member, and when she first announced her bid to become Ghana's president, we will come, and then this is where she will host us and then also speak to us. I'm patron no say enwano na asesa.
I'm patron no nsesa.
Eti mo ni bodan so ade na ka ekire mo fa maami ho.
Maami de awreho na ise aba. Ye ni ko bodan so pena de awreho aba. E de usun ene yaw na abrebusia no.
So citing this particular door brings fond memories of the late Madam Akua-Donkor, and it's a very sad one. So the family believes the late Madam Akua-Donkor is a Yasantua of Ejretia who has fought a good fight, and he has also lifted the good name of Ejretia. So everywhere Ejretia is mentioned, Madam Akua-Donkor's name will always be attached to Ejretia.
Well, that's thank you so much, Ohintabia, for that report from the home of Madam Akua-Donkor. Now, I mean, politically, she's very known. I'm sure that's the reason why she's gained this national prominence. Kokwa Sante of our political desk also takes a look back at some of the memorable moments of her life.
Donkor lived the greater part of her 72 years outside of the public limelight until she emerged around 2012 during the election, seeking to become president when she founded the Ghana Freedom Party. In 2012, she did not end up on the presidential ballot after she was disqualified by the Electoral Commission. But Madam Akua-Donkor didn't give up. She joined hands with PPP's Papa Kwesi Ndom in a short-lived alliance. In 2016, she was back to her dream of becoming president and was disqualified again. She did not lose her sense of humor, even in such trying times for her political dreams. But in 2020, Akua-Donkor made it for the first time on the presidential ballot paper.
The 6th first candidate to present nomination forms to the commission was Madam Ekuya Donko, and the candidate has therefore been adjudged responsive to the nomination requirements. She has therefore been cleared to contest the 2020 presidential election.
In 2024 also, she made it on the ballot paper and until her death was busy campaigning to be president. In the last IPAC meeting she attended, she threatened to sue former President John Dramani Mahama. When Ekuya Donko was interviewed by Hits FM, she made headlines when she attempted to recite the national pledge.
Through the of Ghana, so help me God.
In one of her most viral videos, Ekuya Donko jokingly takes on a woman who passes in front of her while she is being interviewed by journalists. As Ekuya Donko journeys back to a crater, a lot of you will remember her for a lot of things, but she does not want you to forget this.
Ghana pet and Oba at the party. Uber say be a president here. No, I'm a Ukrainian near to Abamano. And in Ghana pet and Oba at the party. And the Mikran of a ha. I'm a full cranky of Mabaso. No one is making me actually my idea. See, I try Baba and have a back track with us. Let's match you over here. Why do you crash to Ghana have one to this one? Over cross Abasa. If you say much sham over sitting in me, I'm too. And the Yaman at you. And the Yago policy from Yat sham over sitting in Ama or Magana.
Madam Ekuya Donko brought fun to Ghana's usually heated politics. I will continue to keep many smiling, even in death. Kweku Asante for Joy News.
Right, so that was a short tribute to Madam Ekuya Donko, who passed on last night. Even though we are mourning her, there are some issues that must be addressed. Remember that the notice of pool for the 2024 election is already out. The EC is left to print the ballot paper. But on the notice of pool, Madam Ekuya Donko is 7th on the presidential, notice of pool. Now, with her death, what would that mean for the composition of the nominees or the candidates on the presidential notice of pool or the ballot paper? The Constitution is quite clear in matters of this nature. And it says that where at the close of nomination under clause 2 of this article, only one candidate stands nominated, that's but not where at the close of nomination, but before the election, the one of the candidates dies, a further period of 10 days shall be allowed for nominations, and where the death occurs at any time within 25 days before the election in that constituency or unit shall be postponed for 21 days. But instructive here is that when the candidate dies, a further period of 10 days shall be allowed for nominations. So we'll wait to see how the Electoral Commission will go around this particular matter. But let's stay on your election headquarters, because NDC's presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, has posed 5 questions, saying the MPP presidential candidate, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, must answer them, just as he once demanded answers to 170 statements and questions that he claimed that late Vice President Kwesi Amissah should respond to. Now, speaking to him, his tour of the northern region, he said the MPP flag bearer has shifted focus from his economic lectures to pursuing digitalization initiatives. This shift, according to him, indicates a neglect of pressing economic issues that needs addressing. Masol Agbogba has a wrap of day 1 of John Mahama's Northern Regional Tour.
On the first day of his tour of the Northern region, the NDC presidential candidate visited the Saboba, Tatale, and Zabzugu constituencies. Earlier, he visited the Chereponi constituency in the Northeast region. In the Saboba constituency, John Mahama urged factions in the Bawku conflict to embrace peace. He warned there are hidden forces escalating the conflict.
Unfortunately, any time the peace of Ghana will be disturbed, it is the MPP government that is in power. Recently, I've been hearing some things happening in Bawku that appear to be threatening to disturb the peace there. I just appeal to the people of Bawku area and all those who are stakeholders in what is happening there to exercise patience, exercise restraint.
The man you can trust to do this job.
He posed 5 questions. He says the NPP presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, must answer just as he demanded answers to some 170 statements and claims from his vice president, Pakwisi Mr. Atta, some years ago.
And the same person is running away from economy. He used to give lectures every month about how to run an economy, how to fix the economy. He posed 170 questions to my vice president, Mr. Atta. He should go and answer the 170 questions himself. Indeed, he shouldn't answer 170 questions. He should answer only 3 questions. 3. Why is the exchange rate 17 cedis to the dollar? Question 1. Exam, he should come and write. Ezu, why has Ghana's debt risen from 120 billion to 767 billion in 8 years? Question 2, you should come and answer. Question 3, why is inflation where it is? Why did it rise to 54% under your administration for 8 years? And then let me add 2 more. Question 4, why did you borrow 42 billion cedis from the Bank of Ghana, from the economy to digitalization? He used to do big about economy. Today he can't mention economy. It's not in his vocabulary. Anytime he opens his mouth, digitalization. Come and talk about the economy. That's question 5. 5 questions. Tell him, he should come and answer them. Ezu. And then all he asks is, I want a debate. I want a debate.
And still on the NDC, the mining committee of the NDC is alleging the infiltration of the community mining scheme by foreign nationals, defeating the purpose for the establishment. Recent visits to these sites by the committee have also reviewed politicization of the scheme. Here's Nanaya Ojime's report.
The small-scale and community mining scheme introduced by the present NPP administration aimed at sanitizing the small-scale mining sector. It was introduced in all the country's mining regions, with locals being direct beneficiaries. But some miners are alleging foreign nationals continue to play active roles under the scheme.
The Chinese are those in charge of the sites. They can sack us from the sites. If we kick them out of the small-scale mining, we'll be very grateful.
Because China community mining, no, me say China for no benefit.
If the NDC is successful to win the upcoming election, there is a manifesto promise to replace the scheme with artisanal small-scale cooperatives solely to benefit local people. According to the 2024 NDC manifesto, the present scheme is highly partisan and defeats its intended purpose. The NDC mining committee members who have been campaigning in some mining sites in the country explained the party's position on the present scheme. Member of the team, Michael Kojopepra, explains.
And now the community mining is being politicized. So in the manifesto of NDC, we are saying that when small-scale miners help us to garner a lot of votes, when NDC comes into power, we would set aside the community mining and bring about a cooperative mining, in the sense that we will bring all the small-scale miners together. As we have been able to decentralize in the acquisition of license, they would be able to acquire the needed license to mine.
The team has bemoaned the challenges of goldsmiths and jewelry producers in these communities. Mr. Samuel Hajo is a member of the committee.
Every gold that is even produced, we want to have it, the gold board will have it, then try and get the market for the small-scale miner.
The NDC has so far visited some mining communities in Ashanti, Central and Western regions. They are optimistic of the party's fortunes in the mining areas. For Joy News, Nanaya Ochima reporting.
I will take a short break here on the post. When we return, we'll build up to the National Science and Maths Space Grand Finale. All right, so you're welcome back, and of course, our last discussion before we head out. Now, in less than 24 hours, 3 schools in Fransipim, St. Augustine's College, both in the Central Region, as well as Ketia Senior High School from the Volta region will lock horns as a battle for supremacy in the finals of the 2024 National Science and Maths Quiz competition. It is expected to be a close encounter, but the data is showing a slight advantage for what school or which school will have answers for you very soon. We'll get to know tomorrow. But let me bring in the studio now data analyst Isaac Ofieje to help us understand what the data says about tomorrow's contest. And on the ground, of course, is Jacqueline Ansuma Ijabua, and she'll also fill us in on what is happening as the schools prepare for the day tomorrow. So let me start with Kofi. So Kofi, I mean, all the schools, all of them, they've qualified to the final. I mean, all of them capable of winning the trophy. And you say that one is more capable. Why?
I mean, this year will be an interesting final because looking at the data, it's actually too close to call who will actually win the contest. But we have a theory that has not failed since 2017. And so if we are to go by that theory, then the data is actually in favor of St. Augustine's College.
Why do you say so?
I mean, the theory is that we've been looking at the schools and their marks or their scores from the 1-8 to the semifinals. And usually, per our theory, the school that has the highest average from the 1-8 to the semifinals always goes ahead to win the finals. And as you can see on your screens, we start from 2019, where in 2019, for instance, you had a school like Adisado College went into the finals with Presec and then also St. Peter's. During that contest, during that final in 2019, Adisado College went to the final with the highest average of 56%, 56 scores, followed by Presec 53, and then also St. Peter's 52.3. And just like you're seeing on your screens, the grand finale, the school that had the highest, which was Adisado College, actually went ahead to win that final with 39. In 2020, the same thing happened where, 2020, the school that also had the highest average also went ahead to win the final in 2020. That was Presec, went into the final with the highest average of 58.7%, won with 36, score. The score was 36. And now let's move to 2021, where the same thing happened. Prempeh College going to the final with the highest score of 65.3%. They won that contest, or they won that final in 2021 with 53. In fact, that's the highest we've seen in terms of the final score between this period. Now, let's go to 2022, where Presec won that finals, going into the final with the highest average of 57.7, and then went ahead to win that final with 50 point. Now comes just last year, where we thought that contest was going to be very close. And just last year, the same theory also panned out, where Presec went to the finals with 55.7, average, and went ahead to win that contest. This year, the data is actually in favor of St. Augustine's College but momentum is actually on the side of Infant Spim.
So why do you say that? I mean, if the data is anything to go by from the analysis within the period that you have educated us, then clearly the school that made more marks during the semi-final is most likely to win the grand finale, even though, as I've seen this, all of them were unable to repeat the same marks at the semi-finals during the finals.
So what happens is that, per the data we have studied, what happens during the semi-finals is what we call the convergent point. So you see that there are so many outlier scores during the 1-8, the quarterfinals, but during the semi-finals you have a convergence where all schools tend to get a certain mark. There's a certain uniformity in terms of the marks or the scores they get. Last year, for instance, the convergence point was around 45. The score was 45. This year, we are seeing one of the highest in the period under review, which is around 53 or 52. The school going into this final with the least, semi-final score is Keta, which could not even make 40, the 40 mark. But you have schools like, St. Augustine's College and an Infant Spim school all going to the finals with scores above 50. That tells you that although the data is actually predicting St. Augustine with a slim margin, it could still be a keenly contested, tomorrow in terms of the contest. But just like I said, the data is in favor of St. Augustine's College, but momentum is actually on the side of Infant Spim because of the schools they've actually encountered. If you look at their route or their map to the finals, they were the school that actually knocked out Prempeh College, right? And then also knocked out Presec. Right. That tells you that they have some sort of momentum on their side. St. Augustine College on the other side actually had the highest.
St. Augustine had an easy run.
Well, definitely, I won't say an easy run because, I mean, if you are good, you definitely will qualify to the 1-8, to the quarters and to the semis. So definitely, but the schools you meet also determine your capability or your strength in the finals. But, I mean, we are not saying that this is cast in stone. We are actually holding all other factors constant and saying that if we just look at the average scores, then this will be what probably will pan out tomorrow. But there are so many other factors that can play out
because
tomorrow.
I was coming to it because,
so many other factors that can play out
because
tomorrow.
I was coming to it because, this is a round of 5 contests and everyone is unique. Have you considered the strength and weakness in terms of maybe the problem of the day, the riddle, the true and false, because everyone has its own marks that may be allotted.
Yes, I mean, each of the schools are actually, if you look at the performances, all 3 schools going into this final, they seem to do well in almost all the rounds. But if you look at the problem of the day, then we are talking about St. Augustine's College, where they had one of the highest, I think, during the somewhere around the 1-8 stage. But getting into the semi-finals, where we are talking about convergence, the closeness of the race begin to actually close. I mean, if you look at their scores, 52 for St. Augustine's College and then 53 for Infant Spim, and then you're talking about somewhere around 38 for Keta. That tells you that if you look at all the other rounds and you average the scores, there possibly will be 2 schools that will be battling this out tomorrow. But you can't actually rule anybody out. Just like you said, there are other factors that will come to play tomorrow. Confidence is one of them, and your ability to pick your opponent's bonuses tomorrow. I think that will be one of the key determinants, especially between Infant Spim and St. Augustine's College, who is actually going to pick more points from the other. I'm not ruling out Keta yet, but just like I'm saying that we have a theory that we've been following since 2017, and that theory has actually never failed. I don't know if tomorrow this theory will fail, but per the data that we have, St. Augustine's is actually, the data speaks for St. Augustine's College, but momentum is actually on the side of Infant Spim College.
We'll see if we can bring in Jackie. Jackie is monitoring on the grounds, and she's been there since the start of everything. So Jackie, so tell me, how are the schools preparing for the big day tomorrow? The whole nation will be looking at them tomorrow. How prepared are they to face each other to lift the ultimate?
Well, Elton, I mean, it's been amazing here. I literally used my whole day to visit Infantipim School and St. Augustine's College. So first, when I got to Infantipim School, the students, I mean, the finalists, they were having a simulation. I wouldn't say a simulation exercise, but then it's sort of the same action, the same exercise they'll face during the finale. So it was a group contest with their fellow Cape boys. So the momentum there is actually very high, and they are very optimistic of a win tomorrow. But then we also have St. Augustine's College. They also hoping to get their third trophy. You know, these two schools, they are all two-time champions, and each of these two schools are rivals. It's like a regional rival between them. So each of these two schools are hoping to get their third trophy. But then, interestingly, when we speak to St. Augustine's College, the trophy means more for them this year because they would want to dedicate their trophy to an orphanage in Cape Coast. So that's what has been going on. But for Keta SHTS, they're currently in the same building that I'm in right now. That's at the Super Annuation Hall right inside UCT. And, you know, their supporters are also not here, but I'm pretty sure that hopefully by tomorrow, the auditoriums will be full with supporters from Keta SHTS. But the preparation for students from Keta SHTS has been immense and intense for them. And they've been, the drills for them has been intense since morning.
Well, so Jackie, I mean, they've seen it all from the start of the competition all the way up until now. But the finals presents its own tension and anxiety. I mean, sometimes you have it at the back of your mind that the entire country is watching you, and that put extra pressure on you. I don't know whether the schools, they have, for example, psychologists to prepare them emotionally to go through the exercise tomorrow.
Yes, Elton. So this is something that this is something that Prime Time has incorporated over the last few years. So prior to every contest that they have, a psychologist comes in to prep the students. He takes them back. They have a male and a female psychologist. They take them behind the stage to give them a pep talk and to make sure they are okay. Because you know sometimes when they're on stage, the booing and all the noise from the audience and sometimes take them off. So the psychologists, they've made provisions for psychologists that after and before every contest, what they do is they take the contestants behind the stage and give them a pep talk.
Right. And so tomorrow, the time is what, 1 p.m.?
No, 2 p.m. The contest starts at exactly 2 p.m., but then there will be an award ceremony prior to that, which will be starting at 12 noon at the new examination center inside University of Cape Coast.
All right. Thank you so much, Jackie. And of course, we'll touch base with you tomorrow for the grand finale of the National Science and Maths Quiz. So Jackie has been there since day one, and she'll wrap it up for us nicely tomorrow here on Joy News, on Joy 99.7 FM, and of course on all our social media handles. So Kofi, you still insist that St. Augustine stand a better chance of winning?
Well, I have the data here, and it's actually tomorrow that we'll be releasing this data, and you get a chance to see. But I know you've seen the data.
Of course, but my money is on Keta.
Your money is on Keta.
Yeah, Keta Senior High School.
But I mean, there's a lot of power in data, and just like I said, we've been doing this since 2017, and it has actually not failed. I don't know if tomorrow will be an outlier or it will be the first time, or what happened in 2018. 2018 will happen again, where the school that had the highest average actually went ahead to win. I would not know if that outlier will play out tomorrow. But what we can confidently say is that it is going to be a tight race tomorrow. But just like I always say, the data is speaking for St. Augustine's. And I mean, trust me, I can't say any other thing but to only speak according to what the data is saying. All three schools can actually do, what they can tomorrow to actually win the contest. But what we have so far, per what we have, analyzed and actually put into our theory, we believe that St. Augustine's College has the upper hand. But if you look at the data, it's very, very close. You have seen it.
Yes.
We can't mention it right now.
We'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow, but it's very, very close. In fact, this is the first time we are having, in terms of probability of winning, we are having all three schools on the same wavelength, but some small margins between them, that tells you that tomorrow is not going to be an easy day for either of the schools. It's going to be a close contest out there.
All right, so tomorrow, make a date here on Joy News, on Joy 99.7 FM, on our social media handles, on Facebook, on YouTube, on X Spaces. We will have the warm-up all the way from the morning, and then the contest will start at 2 p.m. to when everything is over. Are you going in for St. Augustine and Fransepem or Kitas Senior High School? The data will show you which direction this will go tomorrow. We've got that results coming your way tomorrow here on Joy News. But for more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. The Speaker of Parliament is speaking. It says Parliament shouldn't be taken for granted. The Chieftaincy Minister has also been updating the country on the situation at Bawku and plans by government to address the security lapses in there. Well, that's our show for today. For more, tomorrow same time we shall be here to bring you another edition of the pod. We're also warming up to the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. You don't want to miss that one out. It's at the Accra International Conference Center, starting on Thursday all the way to Saturday. See you tomorrow same time. Enjoy your evening. Take care.